Cheers, everybody, and welcome to episode 48 of your favorite late night Friday night hashcast. It is Variables. Oops, go ahead and take care of that. It is Variables, streaming live to you every Friday night at 11 p.m. Eastern Time on YouTube, Twitch, and X. And, of course, after the show on Spotify and wherever you get your dang podcasts. Tonight we have a very special guest who I think keeps clicking the wrong button. But I'll go ahead and introduce him anyway. Our special guest tonight is TDog, the artist. Someone that you guys have for sure come across his artwork if you've been around at all, especially here in the Michigan scene, of course, out west, and even on the East Coast too. Someone that's been designing artwork for flyers and events for most of, if not just about all of the Michigan events here in the last, nearly a decade now, it seems like. Keep even longer than that. He spent some time in California. He's illustrated children's books. He's designed logos for Fortune 500 companies. He's been doing this a long time, and I can't wait to figure out where the hell his inspiration comes from, because I swear to God, if it's not mushrooms, I have no chance at being an artist at all. T-Dog, the artist, where can we find you? Give all those shout outs out.
Where's the crowd noise?
Sorry, we don't have a soundboard, but we'll get there one day.
Working on that.
What's the inspiration? We know what the inspiration is. I mean, the plant, this fabric of our lives that's been part of the entire planet. You know, when God made this planet, and He looked down on the seventh day, and He looked at, this is Bill Hicks humor, and He looked down at the planet. He goes, "Holy crap! I put weed everywhere, and I'm going to expect them not to smoke it."
And here we are.
I've always said it's the first chapter of the first book of the Bible. Those seed-bearing plants, man. He says it's okay for us, and I know not all of them are bearing seeds, but sometimes they bear seeds on accident. You know what? I'll give that. I'll count that one.
I mean, we can talk about me, but I like the whole idea of what this show's about, and the discussion, and I feel that not just as an artist, but also as a fellow caregiver and grower and lover of the plant and the community. You know, I think that there's a kind of a like-minded variable. Oh, look at all that! Who did all that artwork?
Right?
Damn!
A bunch of shit up there.
Amazing man.
What the hell?
So, T-Dog, how long you've been doing this? You said so we talked a little bit before the show about, like, you know, you said you don't consider yourself an artist, but I think anyone that sees your art considers you an artist, you know, and maybe that's one of those like artist insecurities from deep within that keeps driving the work or something like that. But
because we don't stop, it's like it keeps me out of trouble. I can't stop, just like similar to anybody's obsession. It's like, if it makes you happy and there's a groove that you're in, why would you ever stop doing it? So I've been drawing since I was a very small child.
Okay.
Very old child.
I love it. Did you have like a natural ability or talent right out the gate? Because let me tell you a quick story, man. I remember I had this really good friend in grade school and high school, and it was like third or fourth grade where he was drawing like realistic people with pencil and paper and blowing everyone's minds, and I'm over here like drawing, you know, hangman stick figures, like can't figure out how to draw like, you know, 5 fingers that are appropriately sized and everything. And so he's just one of those naturally gifted artists. Is that you, or did you have to work at it? Did you have to learn at it, or is it one of those things that you're constantly learning and improving upon?
I think it's the latter, and that's why I want to tell people about whatever you do. It's practice. I feel that you could look at certain pieces I did when I was a young man that were just awesome, and I'm like, wow, I did have the talent. But it's taken all this time till now, where I have this sort of, I don't have an insecurity. I am definitely the mean, lean, you know, creative machine. I mean, honestly, it's like, I think the years of just doing it, just like with growing. I mean, there's a certain, I'm not saying you don't constantly learn and be a better.
You've refined your style over the years, right?
And now that I've been kind of become a known entity in the community, there's a certain wave that's because when I took on, I started in 2016, 15 when I did my first tribute strain design. I should have sent you that one. That was the Girl Scout cookie. And since then I've done well over 100 designs, tributes to individual medicines, and
how many
I like
over,
how you
over
say
100?
that. Tributes to the medicine.
medicine. Well, tributes to the growers too. I got to be careful because I do my research. It's funny. I haven't done a strain design in a while because I've been doing so much of the event art and other art.
Mm-hmm.
I just did this. It's about to drop. I just did this. I think it's on their website, guitarsrebellion.com. I just designed this, illustrated this amazing, it's a warlock. It's going like this, and then you are like this. And I got James Hetfield of Metallica.
That's awesome.
There it is. Boom.
Nice. We got a fucking Jamie in the house over here somewhere.
They drop it on Instagram, but they put it on their website, and then they said they're going to put it. Yeah, so getting back to your question, it's practice, man. I tell everybody, you got to have the desire, and you got to obviously have some kind of dexterity to do. Because I probably could have been a brain surgeon the way I honestly.
That's a fair point. I've seen some of your posts where it looks like you're using some sort of like lazy Susans. You like to kind of rotate.
Yeah, with the time lapse, right?
Okay.
So that's fun.
That like just turning the.
You'll appreciate this, Pedro. This is what I did for Mendo Dope Boys, and
That's awesome.
That's funny. I was just going through my shit the other day,
shout out to them.
and I found an old pair of Method 7s.
Yes.
It was the old Mendo Dope fucking version of the Method 7s from holy shit, who knows how long ago.
That is a wow. In fact, look what I got. I'm going to sneak peek it right here. This is one of their stocks.
Oh shit, I know
the
what
mic
that is,
stand, dude. Holy shit.
I am going to custom. It's a little collab we're doing, and I'm going to custom paint it. I got a great idea what I'm going to do with this. And please.
Great piece.
How is that from last year, 2 years ago? How old is that mic stand?
They gave it to me last year, and then we both got busy with our lives, and it wasn't like it's not like he doesn't have a few more. So
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
we all said the universe will provide it when I do it, and I apologize for taking so long, but it'll get done.
Is that the same one right there?
Is that it? Wait, that could be
Yeah, it looks like it might be.
I think that is.
Yeah, it looks like it was last year,
Yep.
right?
No. Yeah, I think it is. Hold on, let me just look at the bottom here. Yep, that's it.
Yeah, it does have the it does look like it has a mic attachment on that one, but so what I mean,
Yeah, it's been
okay, tell me about your process, because I see a lot of like drawing going on with pencil and paper, but then I also see this finished product, which I mean to me looks like digital art.
Well,
So
yeah, I'll tell you exactly what I do. It's really cool. I'm still old school. I still like putting the pencil to the paper.
mm-hmm.
You can see that when I do the time lapse. So I do the initial idea, still pencil to paper, and then I scan that in to the computer, and then I do all the finished colorization in Photoshop and or Illustrator.
Okay.
But I got to do it old school, man. It's still. And here's the thing that I stress: it's just part of being an artist versus a graphic artist, because I was a graphic artist where I would pick out fonts and use other design fonts, and But
typography and stuff.
99.9% of my art, I hand draw the lettering. It's never, there's no fonts used.
I mean, you could tell, man, because I'm looking at these like the Michigan Cure Cups and stuff, and it's like it's clearly not just like a font, you know what I mean? And but it looks like better than hand drawn, you know.
You didn't pick the greatest example. If you look at my other work, that font, I didn't do that font.
Not their logo. I'm talking about the dates and stuff like that. That clearly are drawn in. Yeah.
Exactly. So here, I think so. You see all that? That's hand drawn. Dope.
I mean, so, I don't
that whole thing is that whole shirt was hand drawn.
So let's talk hash. We can go back. No, we can talk more about me. That's fine. I've done. You brought it.
Hash is our favorite subject.
Actually, I love designing for the packaging for my lovely caregivers out there. And they're doing some cool stuff for the small jars. I might have KB Gardens. You go through my profile, you'll see one where there's a jar. Hold on, keep on. I'll go the other way.
That's funny. I have never. I mean, I guess I did one little mix with.
There. Yeah. So we did, and then around. Check that out.
I mean, guys, this is like a 1-inch wide jar. Look at how much detail is in this thing.
Right. I got the Mad Hatter. I got that. Yeah, that was fun. And this guy makes some fire, man.
Yeah, I've only ever once done one little mix with Calyx. Other than that, man, I've never.
That's a recognizable logo. You got to keep that, bro.
Yeah, I mean that's been there for a while. I can't. It's hard to change that, right? It's hard to drop that. But yeah, I've never done any arts on any of my jars. I've always. It's kind of funny because I always just stick to the blue tape.
Well, but, I don't know how you're dealing with. Are you going out to events at all?
Here and there.
Yeah.
Here and there. This last couple of years has been a little rough for me, but
for Girlie's just driving cross country to pick it up, honestly. So as long as it's labeled, I'm happy.
Yeah, exactly right. But honestly, over the years, after so long, the blue tape has become a thing. Right. The blue tape is a very recognizable Pedro thing.
That's good.
So it's kind of become a what are those things called?
Branding.
What do they call those? The little Easter eggs things. That's kind of like an Easter egg thing. It's got the blue tape on it. Oh, okay.
Oh, I'm so glad you got that. Somebody just gave me. I love that you have that, John, because someone just gave me this at an event.
That's awesome.
Rolling tray thing.
Oh hell yeah.
Okay, I have the original rolling tray back in my box that he used to send with the packs.
That was a great idea for just on a postcard, and it folds into a rolling tray.
Mm-hmm. So TDog, tell us about that, because you did Subcool's last lineup, like CPAC lineup.
It was just a bittersweet ending to, I just wish he would have made a left instead of a right, or a right instead of a left, and just unfortunate circumstances, because I designed, I think, in 5 or 6. He was just loving the work for Chernobyl, Jack the Ripper, Slimer. I saw some artwork for Cheesequake. I had one done that I thought was far better, but no slight to the artist who did the one. Whoever's and I guess is Will still taking care. I don't know who. I don't even know what's going on with Subcool. The legacy of his name and brand.
I mean, it will forever live on for those of us that got to experience his just absolute passion for this plant and
those free seeds out to everybody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's super generous. I mean, not only with his seeds, but his time and his knowledge and everything. Hilarious, a great time to hang out with and everything. But I mean, I'm curious to just I want to know how that transpired with designing the packaging, teaming up with him. Maybe more from the I don't know, maybe it's a business question, but what was it like, having that or finding that opportunity, being given that opportunity? Tell me about it.
I loved how it all came about because I got to meet a bunch of people. It was at the SoCal. What's that? Oh, that's
root
cool.
beer, Bulldog root beer.
It was at the SoCal.
A lot of people wondering if I'm over here fucking slamming some brews over here.
Bottoms up.
Kind of, but
yeah. I actually, Nation, I was a recreational drinker, and I don't know, and it wasn't any intention to stop drinking, but I have pretty much stopped drinking I think during the pandemic, because I wasn't going out to bars as much, I just stopped drinking. And not like I won't drink, but if I do drink, I gotta go sit down.
Dude, I'm the same exact way. I kind of stopped or started walking away from the alcohol when I had this seizure bullshit.
Yeah.
But this last barbecue that I had, a buddy of mine brought over a 6-pack of some brews, some Voodoo Ale, I think is what it was, and I literally had a half of one. Like I was like, can I have
9%ers?
Can I have a half of one of those? And I had a half of one, and it was funny because about 2 hours later, hour or 2 hours later, we came down and we did a dab and did another dab, and I'm like, I remember saying outside, I'm like, why am I getting so fucking high? Like, I do not understand why every dab is getting me like way higher than normal.
What do they call it? There's like candy flipping and trippy flipping or whatever. What is that called when you're there's a word for it when you're use alcohol and cannabis together?
Oh, it's a combination, but it's really just because you
Chat'll probably
Crossfaded.
I think
crossfaded.
That is right.
There you go.
You made it through, bro.
That's what our buddy Cupins is doing right now.
So cool. I went to the Cannabis Cup, and then I had started my my tributes. So I did it. If you look, it's actually being sold in stores now. It's my first 24 tribute designs, and I had, which of his did I have in there? Oh, I had Agent Orange, and so I had stickers made, and I went to the event. I went up to his booth, and I gave him the Agent Orange stickers, and we just started talking. And he loved the art. He said, "Dude," and that's where it all connected. And then we connected right after that, and I started doing. And he hired me to start doing some art for his strains. And then as time went on, and then the fire happened. That changed everything. 2017 fire.
Damn, was it that long ago?
I was just gonna say the same thing. Has it been that damn long ago?
That's crazy, dude. I know I got extra grays in my beard since then.
Jesus.
That's right here on the hat, because I did it in the design where I have that stopwatch going through the. Get on the bigger design.
I'll pull this shit out. I can't not when we're talking about the son bitch.
And I don't want to even talk about what genetics he does. I remember he said, "Man, I just had enough time to get my hash and my dog and get the hell out of here." That's how fast the fire was coming.
Ugh.
I'm a fucking weed nerd for life. That's for damn sure.
Yeah.
Weed nerd. And a big shout out to Mendo Dope, because they're doing their little class in the garden tomorrow.
Oh, are they?
Yeah.
I've been talking with those son bitches. I'm still yet to get them on the show. I'm gonna keep bugging them. That's for damn sure.
Get them on the show. I'll be on the show with you. I'll be Uncle T.
I made a whole ass music video
go.
for the at Mission Gems of Genetics, hoping I could convince them to get on the show.
Bro.
So I was looking through my old board trying to see if I've got any other good sub cool stickers
shit,
here.
look at that.
No, wait, I want to see if I'm on there. That's what I want to see. Is anything I've done? Maybe. Possibly.
That looks like the side.
I got to do a little shout out right now. Thank you, first of all, Jason, for having me on the show. But I got to know Jason probably around maybe 5 or 6 years ago when, and it was at a cannabis cup, and you had, and I still brag about it. When you find a medicine that you love, and I'm serious, that Clementine was like the most amazing, because I love sativas anyways, but flavor and just everything about it. That was a good medicine, man.
I appreciate that, man. I think it was deserving of the cup. I think most of it is in the genetics. You know what I mean? There's certainly some care that and love and whatever that goes into the growing and the processing of it. But ultimately, I think it mostly is in the genetics, and that just happened to be a winner for real winner. And
Yeah, that taste is
it's insane. I mean, to the point where it's too much
Wait,
for some people, right, Pedro?
Which one are we talking about?
You know what?
Clementine.
I'm a total flower guy, and yet
There you go.
He's a little dirty now. You've been
Yeah. Oh wow, look at you guys. All right.
that is some love. I have nothing for them.
There we go. 3 for 3.
My jars are all like Pedro's. Mine just have blue tape on top, or like the oil. I use the oil markers.
Yeah, where's my other one?
Those clean right up.
Yeah, exactly.
I've got a few jars that have like 4 layers of tape on them though, because like it wouldn't come off, so you just put another one over it.
Mm-hmm.
Got everything's got initials. You're muted for girly.
No, I'll just say like certain dates and things. Like I've done that with a few things. Just too many layers of tape. I think my cloner, I did that one time. I couldn't get it off. Just whatever. Just put another one on top.
My jars back in the day, before I discovered blue painter's tape, the jars back in the day were thick with duct tape.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was. I mean, you peel it off, but you know that residue duct tape leaves.
You gotta
like that weird
clean the whole thing with ISO again. That's why it holds so well. It's got that sick grid.
You guys are going to brag about your extract. I guess I got. But what I was going to say was, and it had a lot to do with, this TLC with you guys making some amazing extract. Because I've always been a flower person, but when I started going to events, 8 years ago, that's when I would start tasting, all the concentrate in the extract.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the which one?
Oh, is that the one we showed on your Instagram?
I got one to show some too.
Oh yeah, that looks juicy.
Nice and juicy.
Nice.
Look at that sheen. Which one is that?
This is the pie dough. Pie dough. Wait, I think I got the GMO too.
I'll say it.
But that, the one thing that's beautiful about the hash and the extracts is that is the terpene. Just you really can get into really what just this amazing aromatherapy.
Right. I mean, how crazy is it that it gives you so many different profiles or so many different smells out of the same plant? I know there's different phenotypes and genotypes and all this stuff, but
don't get me wrong, I love it from the flower too, but you got to crack a bud. You really got to, and it's just not the same.
It's got to be cured and within a certain time frame, and
right, and it's just never quite the same.
Opening a bag is nice, but opening a really good jar is a whole other experience. Stank the whole room out.
And I like us, and I don't do the big dabs. I really want to just get the taste. I do low temp dab, and
I don't think I do big dabs either.
When I use a nectar collector, what do you count to? How many seconds with the blowtorch? 10 seconds?
Well, that seems pretty long.
Yeah, but
I haven't used one of those in a
it's been a minute.
I really like the idea of just knowing the temperature though, because I do like.
Well, there is this one device that works really well for knowing the temperature, and it's called an e-nail. This e-nail coil attaches to your banger.
I was thinking a dab right.
So here you go. Here's your friendly PSA to clean your dab right.
Got to set that up, and then I, the other thing, I don't want to become then I'll start buying glass because I love. I'd buy one of those.
No, that's expensive glasses for torch guys. Buy the cheap glass like me and get an e-nail.
No, I wouldn't buy the real expensive glass because I know I'd break it. That's why I wouldn't buy it.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat, TDog.
If I'm going to use it all the time. Nice.
So that's why I say I'm not an art collector. Like I can appreciate art, but I'm not an art collector because when it comes to most of the art I'm collecting, it would be glass.
This is what TDog. This is my device right here.
Zong bong.
Well, a bong, and right now I'm using the Zong bong. I like the whole idea of this is you have, and I tell everybody, it's not about the medicine's not going to hurt you. What's going to hurt you is the heat from the fire, because the heat from the fire is what's going to damage the organs. But that's the Native Americans had the long peace pipe. There's a point to having length from the heat to your lungs. And besides, my wife won't let me smoke in the house, so I just take the bong.
That's why I always like smoking with a water pipe. One of my rigs. I'm not a fan of a dry hit. There's some videos where we've done dry hits, and it's just not a great thing.
Oops. And
I'm always a favor. I love the function, because the rigs, when they throw water around, I'm fascinated by what artists can do with that. But on top of that, what I really look for is, in addition to the attractive movement of water, is how long the smoke is in contact with the water. Because just like you said, besides me going out of my 600 degree dabs over here, it's the heat that'll get you. In both ways. And
I also use the carbon filter.
Man, I haven't seen one of those in a minute.
It's the butt plug for bongs.
It takes the tar out. It doesn't take any of the medicine out, or that you still taste everything. And
that reminds me. You reminded me of, like, when I go through boxes, and because I just moved. We'll have to update you sometime, TDog, if you're not familiar, but. Go through the old boxes and stuff, finding hats, and I literally there's a box up here that I pulled down, and it's a 16 by 16 by 16 box that's full of hats from the cannabis community. I didn't even look at it. I was like, oh my God.
Cheers.
I just want to point out that he's using hemp wick.
Yes, you don't also want to breathe the butane, so I always do the hemp wick right next to my bong.
Right, and I always talk about how there's more butane in a big flick, and lighting your piece or whatever it might be, than there is in a good quality dab in terms of residual solvents and hydrocarbons. And but that's one way to avoid it entirely, is use a hemp wick. And that's definitely, like, I don't know, I'll say it, an old-fashioned hippie way. I think it's like,
I'll tell you something. It wasn't something I always did. I think it's actually, you see, I'm not a young man. I've been smoking for many decades. That many. So, I figure as I get older, I might be as clean and easy on my lungs as I can be.
100%. Now,
I still find so much good quality of the medicine. Oh, by the way, let's just say a little prayer. I just smoked the last of my purple pecan grow from a year and a half ago.
Dang.
Nice.
I thought out of it, and I said, all right, this is the last. Genetics, does that sound familiar?
Say again?
Joker Genetics? I think it was Joker. I just
not familiar to me over here.
I'll be honest, I just propagate the same plants for 7-8 years at a time, so I'm not the best with breeders and lineage.
No, you know what? So you have a big mother plant?
No, I just perpetually clone.
Clone.
Yeah. I, with limited plant counts, limited space, and the desire to avoid pests and damage that can come along with old plants, I just find the best way to do it is to perpetually clone my strains. Now, I've lost strains because of that. I've mislabeled strains. There's certainly downsides. There's pros and cons to everything. There's definitely cons to doing it.
Genetic drifting.
I haven't experienced that.
Really?
I've talked about genetic drift a lot over the last, well, not quite 10 years, but probably 6-7 years since we, initially brought it up, probably on the Grow Tube. And I have not experienced any genetic drift. Now,
explain to me genetic drift, because, like, I'm not the, I'm a grower growing funny.
So I've had my critical kush now for, what are we talking, 8 years now? I don't know. It's been a long time. When it started out, you can even go back in the videos, and I remember talking about this, it's always been the sweet kush. It was always the sweet kush, right? And then after the sweet kush, it almost had a menthol. It drifted into the terpenes drifted into like a menthol kind of content, heavy at the, at the exhale. And then now it's turned into more of a just straight funky old school kush, where it's actually one of the concentrates here, that the rosin's here in front of me, that I have to hit at a low temperature, otherwise it's a kush can turn into Bernie real quick if you hit it too hot.
So how long did this drift take?
I mean, this has been over 8 years now. So 8, however.
Did you notice it immediately, or was it a slow kind of burn?
It was it was pretty immediate. I mean, because I've only been growing it for 8 years, and it's drifted. It's changed very noticeably 3 times. But I've cloned. Sorry, I've cloned that. It hasn't been just an outdoor and an outdoor, and it hasn't been just 8 harvests. Excuse me. There's been many indoor harvests between then as well. So I mean, it's been cloned and cloned and cloned and cloned and cloned quite a few times over those 8 years. I'm calling it 8 because I don't 9, 7. I don't remember exactly how many years it has. But
when you're getting changes like that, are your indoor and your outdoor both consistently changing, if that makes sense? Like,
and does the clone come from indoor all the time, or are you taking outdoor clones too?
I think I'm mostly. That's a good question. I don't think I've ever taken an outdoor clone from these plants. I think they've all been indoor clones.
So how do you keep track of everything? That's my problem. I don't.
A clipboard and a notepad with a pen.
Just you gotta
do it.
That's a variable. I was going to say that's a
million records.
There's a big variable right here on this because there's like
when I give a clone to a friend, I go, well, it's either this. Not sure.
Honestly, when it gets to if it's either this or this, I'm just going to, I'll grow it out one last time, and then it's done. I won't.
Guys, I have an entire cloning tray full of clones right now that I did not label, because when I took the clones, I go, oh, I know what these are. I'm not going to forget. It's the clones I need to take. 2 days later, I'm looking at them going, I should probably label those. Where's my electrical, not electrical tape, my painter's tape at, right? Because painter's tape is our grower's best friend, as we're talking about all freaking episode
every
long.
year.
But hold on. So I don't label it the second time, right? Now we're a week later and these things are rooting and stuff. And I'm like, I have no idea what clones these were, but I'm looking at the plants they're next to. I'm looking at the fact that I definitely trimmed those probably about 10 days ago, and probably took clones off them. They're all lime skunk, and I'm certain that I took lime skunk because everyone wants lime skunk, right? But I didn't label them when I took them. So now I have a piece of painter's tape labeled across my cloner that says lime skunk ?
Yep, exactly. I've been there.
You know what? I'm just gonna have to send them all into flower. I'm gonna have to take another batch of lime skunk clones, and guess what? If those are lime skunk, I'll have some very happy.
There you go. Yep. There you go.
Whatever,
I can actually tell the critical kush anymore. The primal punch, I haven't not quite got there yet, but the critical kush, if I was to even just veg her out, I could definitely tell her.
Every year when we do veggies, I swear that I'm going to label them, and I don't. And then I'm like, well, they're veggies, right? You're going to be able to tell what the fuck they are. How hard can this be? There's no way I would do it with my freaking weed, because it's all looks the freaking same. Like, I double label, so I have the little sticks, and I print a label with a QR code that goes into each plant. Each plant has a QR code, and then I do the zip tie that's open about an inch and a half, and it sits around the little tiny sprout until she
got his
grows
own
into
metric
her
tag system,
right?
Almost.
I hate not having my data.
So TDog, I want to change it up. I want to go back and talk about you again because
Sure.
we just before we started the show, you were starting to talk about how you and I and had met on the Subcool show. And I mean, dude, that goes back a long fucking time. And my memory anymore over the last year with having the seizures and whatnot isn't the same anymore. So
I went to your page and I saw that, not so long ago you just dealt with one, and I just hit me, man. I'm just sending the Good Vibe Tribe your way that you can, power through this.
I appreciate you, man. It's been, I think we're on day 63 now, so I'm still alive. I appreciate it. It's been a rough one, but we're still smiling.
It is, life is hard, and then we die, and people go, that sounds dark, T. I go, well, listen, love and joy, happiness wouldn't be as good as it is if it happened all the freaking time. So
right. You got to appreciate it for,
times. You got to just appreciate it. So even if and it can be in each part of your day, I think. So
a kick in the balls make you appreciate not getting kicked in the balls.
Universe provides, exactly.
You sound literally like my 8th grade teacher. I had an 8th grade teacher that used to say, life sucks, then you die. And it's like, wow, dude. You telling 8th graders that? Come on, man.
But that's the point being, that's just the reality. Life is hard. It's just, there's no way around that. But if you are working on something that you love, something that's meaningful, something that I am proud to say I'm a caregiver. Where's my card? I'm a card carrying caregiver. That's all right. But yeah, I love the fact that that it's not just about, when I have friends that get sick, I don't just say, oh, that's tough, man, wishing you well, praying for you, but that I can actually do something for them.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I agree with you there 100%, man. I've given away so much of this goddamn plant.
I got to learn how to make my own RSO. I got a friend. I just got to take the time to learn and do it.
It's not a super hard process. I'd have to get into study it again, but it's not a hard process at all, especially if you use that, what is it? The Source, I believe is what it is.
Yeah. The Source Turbo. Yeah. They make it a no-brainer.
It makes it's extremely easy. All you have to do is soak and run it through the machine and you're done.
Yeah. I mean,
I'll say, because every show I get on, I like to say it's something that I think is kind of unwritten, maybe unsaid, but is, I think, part of the fabric and blood of our community. If this is a community that stands for what it kind of says it stands for, is that if you're a caregiver or you're producing this medicine, that if it's for someone that's pretty sick or darn well terminal or whatever, that it's free medicine. You get that RSO to them. And I have been able to, I have a nice little circle of friends that I can source when I've had friends that, I'm at an age now where I have friends that have come and gone, but at least their last days were a lot more comfortable at that than it would have been.
I've got a story related to exactly what you just said. My grandmother's oncologist, less than 2 weeks before she passed, suggested she try cannabis. And I had been suggesting it for years.
Of course.
And of course, being a very religious Southern woman, she didn't really want to hear anything about it, right? And just wasn't about that life. And, came from a different era, of course, too.
And they see Jesus and then they want to smoke weed, man.
Yeah, man. And it's crazy now, but it just took a little bit of a culture shift because the generation below them, they're being sneaky about it, but they're all going to dispos and all. It's like a kid in a candy shop, man. They're buying everything off the shelves. They want to try it all, and then they got some stories to tell their friends, and then they're all going out and having dinner and popping edibles and having a good time. And it's a whole different
thing. Ways of that this medicine can be made to help people at their end. First of all, I want someone to start making suppositories. Sorry to bring up that subject, but I had a friend recently that couldn't swallow.
You got to make them. There's not, just.
Well, no, it's just a great way to to administer the medicine for people that can't swallow or do anything else.
Do you have to do anything different than using like the cellulose #2 capsules that you can order off Amazon? Is it a certain capsule?
You have to do it in a wax kind of a thing, like
okay.
Suppository. So it just,
I know they exist here in Michigan, even on the actual. I think they exist on the in the medical and or recreational market. But I've seen those products here in Michigan. But yeah, they're definitely not very common. And like RSO, it's got a very maybe niche but unique and important benefit.
And having seen people, elderly people, I think they got to just come up with a binocular-blast spray. Where you walk into a room and person sticks their tongue out, you just do, and they got enough dosage of THC or whatever to make them happy campers.
There you go, Spartan chiming in.
Hey!
You infuse coconut oil, then freeze it in molds. You can get it at Rite Aid.
Yeah, and I mean that's kind of what I was getting at. For some reason, I probably up until the day that I die, whenever I think of a suppository, I always kind of giggle. It's just a giggly thing to me.
No, trust me, it was only the last year because of this friend had esophageal cancer and couldn't swallow.
Yep, for sure. But yeah, absolutely, he's correct. You make the rosin oil, which is what I do. Just decarb rosin, mix it with coconut oil, and freeze it and boof it. Man, go for it.
Damn, but it's frozen.
I would rec. Well, yeah, that's the fun part.
Dang.
Oh, that's the fun. You just get to feel it.
That holds it in. You pucker up, and it just stays there.
You just gotta use a little bit of lube and get it deep enough.
That's what coconut oil is for. It is the lube, Pedro.
Yeah, it's automatically. It is a stick of deodorant you're shoving up your butt.
Yeah, and it deodorizes and medicates the whole way through.
There you go, baby.
Lubing the pipes.
And I also learned, and I did this with my pet actually, because with dogs, if you put it through that end, they don't get the psychotropic effect, just the medicine to help them. And my dog was able to relax and sleep at the end. It was really
there's so many different uses for this medicine, and
all right, well,
I think
the ass and go somewhere else.
I get the terp burps when I eat the cannabis caps. I wonder. I don't know.
Sorry. Oh, I just
Pedro's gears are turning.
award-winning edibles at the Michigan Cure Cup. It was cashews, man. They were so delicious and great effect as well. It's kind of a seasoned cashew.
Oh,
that sounds really good.
Oh,
yeah, I freaking love nuts. Look at this blend. Oh my god, pomegranate flavored pistachio glazed mix. There's cherries and almonds and black pepper coated on the pistachio. It's super expensive and super good. I need to figure out how to make them myself.
All right, so what's the state of here? I'm an old school. I used to smoke the old Lebanese K Cash back in the day, and that was what we considered as hash. And now, because of all the rigs and everything, you can't do it that consistency because it won't burn in the rigs. So,
yep. Oh, I thought you were gonna. I forgot you had that on the shelf. I thought you were gonna grab a spoon.
No, I probably maybe got one of those up there too. But
talk about variables. I see, from stuff you can put on top of your sundae to some K Cash.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, you're asking the question, I guess, this week. We want to know what hash means to you, TDog the artist. Like, can you define it for us and what it means to you?
It's the terp. It's the way it smells. And it can't be, once it gets too wet, to me, I guess it still has. Some people, I won't name any names, but some professionals have told me that hash is concentrate, man. Hash is just the extract. Hash is almost like a general term for just anything extracted.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Define hash.
Right.
You define hash. That's what I want to hear.
My definition of hash is where there's still when you smell it, you think of the plant. I don't know. It's like, because I'm seeing this THCA and this white. It looks like cocaine, man. I don't know what it is. It's
There's some crazy new stuff on the market right now. There really is.
here's where we can talk about something that really struck me. So I have a friend who lives in Tennessee, which is a state, but the powers that be are screwing us again, because what they did was that remember that farm bill that went through when, like 3 or 4 years ago, before, when Trump was still president, they pushed through this farm bill. Well, why? Because there was a new byline in the farm bill about growing hemp, and it wasn't widely publicized. But now the facts obviously are coming out that our plant is an amazing plant, is a resilient plant, can save the planet, can make paper, can make concrete, can make textile, can make paper, and very affordable. You don't need pesticides to grow, blah, 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 blah. And so now the people that put us in jail are now digging their stakes in to have the lion's share of every plant that's grown in the future. Because, and I get to this point, he's going to they've cut the loopholes. So my buddy's going to a dispensary in Tennessee, and it's advertised as THCA, so it's not THC, so it meets the under 3% quota. And it seems to me all they're doing is chopping the plants early and testing it before, and there's not going to be
there's a lot of drama with that going on right now, with a lot of different companies selling it, and people in the community. Like, there's people on both sides.
Right, because there's money to be made. I understand.
Yeah, right. And the science behind it makes sense to me, but the logic in me says it's not going to be the same damn high. Like,
exactly.
No, it's maybe the same damn high, but it's not dangerous. Meaning he says,
no, I agree, it's not dangerous.
Flour. He goes, it tastes like flour, it looks like flour.
Mm-hmm.
He's obviously not. He goes, I'm not getting this high, but
But there's the 0.85% or 85% conversion or whatever, THCA to THC when it's heated.
But am I correct? Is that's what they're basically doing? Is they're just chopping the plants early?
Oh, I mean, I think there's a lot of different things going on there. I think that's maybe a part of the bucket. That's
what are we talking about?
The hemp bill and how THCA is being sold. I think that
there's a lot of different ways people are getting around it.
Right. Some of it is actually cannabis just being harvested early, but I don't think that's a very big part of it. I think it's I think more in the extracts.
We're talking about the textiles, everything. So I'm saying the powers that be are getting a jump on it and getting their stakes into what hemp is. And
you're also seeing a lot of the THCA sprayed packs where they're buying hemp and then they're spraying it with THCA after the fact, and then adding freaking colors, and it's crazy the stuff that's being passed off right now.
Into the champ shows, and it's pretty, for me being an old school guy, it's pretty disgusting what people like ourselves are having to do just because the way the regulations and the laws and all that crap is. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. I hate overregulation, but at the same time, I hate underregulation almost as much.
I hate overregulation just as much as I hate bastardization, and that's what's happening. Yeah,
that's a good way to say
they're
it.
destroying, because everyone here on this panel is about quality. It's not about quantity or novelty or anything other than just really how TDog was explaining his version of hash, which is that flavor, that essence of that plant, which is what we're trying to capture.
I want
you
to continue to succeed, and that's I've had this conversation, and I'll put it out there today. I don't have any grand plans, but I thought about it. The only way we're gonna, because I used to be an athlete, it's teamwork. You got to work together to win, and I thought about developing some sort of coalition where it's like the people I know, Pedro, Jason and John and all these guys, and that you still do what you do, but we're under like an umbrella of something, whether it be, the Good Vibe Tribe, TDog, whatever. I'm not in it. It'd be almost like a Paul Newman kind of thing that I'd want to do. Whereas as long as I'm not losing any money and you guys continue to make money, but we're a coalition to keep that quality of medicine and product.
I had suggested some type of, I think at the time, caregiver union is the words I used back on the Grow Tube days, and a lot of people were like, "Whoop, hit the brakes," you know what I mean? Like, chill on the union speak, right?
That you word right there,
right? But I like coalition, and I think something like this has to happen. And quite frankly, the movie The Union is part of what got me into all this.
People say, the way I look at it is that it's not like I do or don't want to work with the metric, whatever the fuck's going on. But I know that I don't want to create a wedge of one side or the other. I'd like there has to be an evolution. And
there's got to be a way for everyone to make money, everyone to get a little piece of the pie. The pie's huge, especially here in Michigan, right? I mean, the numbers keep coming out. But also keeping your quality up and keeping it small and keeping it local and letting everyone, I think Fergoli mentioned it before, like farmers markets or something. Give us some way to work with amongst ourselves.
It's a great idea. Don't they do, isn't that what they're doing they're not doing it, but it's written in that in New York when they made it legal to have like legal farmers markets.
Heard something about that. I don't know much about it right now. I know.
You again?
I'm sorry?
I'm asking Pedro, where are you at again? You're in Cali, right?
No, I'm on Colorado, Western Slope. I'm in the fucking mountains.
You know what? I want to come to Colorado. I haven't been there in 20 years. I want to go hang out in Red Rock.
Rocky Mountain High. I've never been to Red Rock, actually.
Well, we should go then, man.
I've been by it. One of my other buddies wants to go as well. I can't think of his Instagram name off the top of my head. I could think of his real name, but I don't want to call him out.
To a point on top where looking out over the theater, you're not supposed to go up there. And I went up there with a friend, and that was stupid, but it was
That's pretty cool. Yeah, I've never been up there, but man, I've been in some remote and high places out here, but that's for damn sure.
Are you from Colorado?
No, I'm originally from Wisconsin. Wisconsin.
I know it was in Glassblower, Snoopy Glassworks. Traveling around the country.
Yeah, I lived in Wisconsin until 2010. I was 21. How old was I? No, 31. I don't fucking remember. 2010. So I've been out here for the last 14 years.
The Green Bay Packers.
No, Chicago Bears.
Oh,
my grandfather raised me, and he was a Bears, Bulls, Cubs fan. So I grew up a Bears, Bulls, Cubs fan.
It's interesting because there's a lot of Southeast Michigan people that are Cubs fans as well.
In the UP, the western half of the UP is Packers, and the eastern half is Lions.
There's some big freaking rivalries
there's
out
a fucking
there.
line there, man.
Did I bring it down? I did a shirt for the Lions.
Oh, nice.
No shit.
Yeah.
I have a Chicago Bears jersey that was worn by an actual bear for a commercial.
Oh, hell yeah.
It's like 4.5 foot wide.
No,
the bear was like 8.5 foot tall. It was massive.
My goodness. The Bears still suck.
Born and bred in Detroit, I was always a sorrowful Lion.
As hard as it was.
Started winning last year. I did this.
That's nice, awesome. Dude.
And I got the big scar on his face because, got the ball torn up.
Yep.
I don't know shit about the Lions.
I didn't say Detroit. Oh no, wait! I didn't say Detroit Lions or anything because I didn't say Lions because I didn't want to get any copyright infringement.
Right.
Yep. I mean, anymore, like now that they're getting big again, they're starting to crack down. We do a lot of work with the team being right there up the road. So
Lions, there's just a lot picture. I can put a picture of a lion.
mm-hmm.
So TDog growing?
Yeah, I'm growing.
Indoor, outdoor?
Both, because
Nice.
yeah, and I started growing outdoor 2 years ago, and it's just too much fun because the plant really loves being outside.
Oh my goodness. To me, it becomes easier.
Yes.
Yeah, it's definitely easier.
It's definitely easier now.
You don't have to worry about power going out.
Pests and weather.
Yeah.
But I've actually got a good, thank you, Cannabis Gods. I got a great spot on the south side of my garage, and I get a great breeze. I get good ventilation, and the last 2 seasons have been good in Michigan. So,
yeah, man, this would have been a great year for me to put something outside, and I didn't. We didn't get shit for rain this year.
I'm growing this TDog cross with Michigan Cherry Kush. Genetics are Kinetic Genetics. Marty, thank you. The plant's 7 feet tall. It smells.
That sounds
That's
delicious.
Awesome. Yeah.
Doesn't it? That's why I grew it. And I like them too. So I like the full circle thing. Now I'm probably going to have to draw this thing. Well, it's too many. TDog and the Cherry Kush I could have. Yeah, I could figure something out.
You could definitely figure something out. I believe in you. How much? I mean, how much art are you putting out? Is it like a? Is there any sort of schedule? Is it like a? Just kind of based on the work that you're given? Or are you just constantly, every day, every week?
It's like all of us. We have to make a living. I would love to just do tribute art. I'd love to just, if I was making enough, and I'm keeping the wife. This has been a great venture because I was, like you mentioned, I did so much work, and I'm still doing work outside, a little bit of work outside of cannabis. I think I'm trying to pivot, not because I have to so much, but I want my art to get out in the world, and it doesn't just have to be.
It just made me so giggle over here, dude. I so want to commission you to do me however the fuck you want it.
We should do a Pedro for president, man.
Oh, dude, I want it. Whatever the fuck you want to do, I just want to commission you to do whatever the fuck you want to do. Dude.
I actually had a really funny idea the other day that we should talk about after the show.
Okay.
Yeah, dude, TDog, I'm 100% serious about that, dude. I'm ready to hire you for sure.
Yeah, I think the time is right, man. When Jason, got a hold of me, and then I found out you were part of the show, I said, "Oh hell yeah, I haven't seen."
We've skipped it twice now. When we met,
What?
He wants to hear the story.
Yeah, you were talking about selling the store.
Subcool, may rest in peace. Monty, that was his name, Monty. Good guy. He had this show, everybody, that was like the show, the YouTube show that everybody chimed in on. Show started off, well, he kind of nursed the Mendo Dope Boys into who they are today. They probably don't like that I said it like that, but but they were influenced by Mr. Subcool, who was one of the greatest lovers of the plant. I mean, the guy just developed so many just amazing cultivar strains that continue to be sought after and grown. The Green Avenger, TGA, baby. But he had a good YouTube show, and he'd bring on, from 4 to 6 guests a week, and he would talk to people on the show, and he'd engage. He was a character, man. He was kind of like the Howard Stern of cannabis, I guess, in a way.
I love that description. Holy shit.
Yep.
I've never even thought of it like that.
Yeah, right. That was a pretty good one.
I watched a clip of the old grow tube, one of the early grow tubes, just a couple days ago. It cracked me up because Subcool was talking and laying out very specifically something, and then for Growly, you jump in and go, "Can you define?" And then it was like, "Yep, there we go."
But there was great shows. I mean, I remember when Mr. Soul came back into the scene. He came on to the Subcool show. He had been kind of off the beaten path, you know. Brother Grimm, you know, the whole Cinderella 99.
Mm-hmm.
And he came on the show, and he kind of reemerged. That was great. So Subcool helped him reemerge. And then I met Patrick King from the Soil King through the show, especially after the fire, because Patrick was doing some great work helping the community. Yeah, it's all coming back to me now. But yeah, I mean, I loved what Subcool was trying to promote. I don't know if we have enough of that to get people excited. We've lost so many of them. I mean, with Frenchie, you know, that was a big shock. I was working with Frenchie prior to his passing away. Let's not be a downer, but they passed it on. Like, I'm working with some people now, like Pele Polaire. We're going to be doing an event November 8th through the 10th in New York City, and Brian's and the you know, people have opinions about what he's doing, but he's making some amazing.
Yeah, he's doing cool stuff.
I didn't even realize that you did that. I'm a judge for Turf Wars. I didn't even realize that you did.
I love that. So you'll be there?
Yeah, well, it's a remote judging.
That's fine. I'm gonna go because I wanna be there, and Detroit to New York's not the biggest trip.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, he's good shit, dude. We've had him on the show as well.
Oh, great. I should have sent him a note that I was on.
You did.
Well, I did something up that I'd be on the show tonight, so maybe he's watching. BC, man, you're doing it right, man.
I was one of his early adopters of the wash wraps.
It's
Wash
such a
wraps.
great idea, man. It makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be implementing. Just stay tuned. We'll probably be implementing a couple more here in the very near future.
Yeah, so I was gonna, and you know what? I'm glad we're talking about this because I thought about it. I'm gonna contact Madame Cannoli because Frenchie and I they were talking about doing a book, and I'm sure she's still working on it, of his life and you know, his whole pathway. And he wanted me to do this illustrated timeline of his life. Could you imagine that? You've seen timelines.
Oh, my Lantai. I can only imagine.
My style, I would like draw, you know, because you've seen the character. It's on my page. I did a birthday thing of his that he caricature him, that he would be behind him on his sofa when he would do talks. I love that.
I got an idea for you. You gotta one of the ways to collect this art should be a jar of Frenchie cannoli style hash.
Yes.
But you know how on like medical labels, how you have to like peel it back, right?
Right.
You should have the wrap around the jar should go around like several times, and it will be the timeline as you open it. It's the timeline of his life. Because we just witnessed with this right here how much artwork you can fit on like a very small label, right? So I think that's something that you could possibly scale down in a way, like through something like Illustrator or something. But yeah, I don't know, just throwing out ideas, I guess.
No, I am, because I do, and in fact I did say that to because I went to, he brought his seminar, solventless seminar, to Michigan this last June, I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
I was
there,
impressed, and we met.
Yep, I was supposed to be there.
I said to him, I said, Frenchie's smiling right now, dude. This is what you're teaching, you know, carrying on the torch of making hash. Because I make that joke sometimes when I go to events. It's just not enough good hash, man. And to answer your question, Pedro, my definition of hash is what I remember when I was a kid, and it with the Lebanese, whatever, blonde red hash, and that cake hash, and that smell, and just man, we'd just take a little pin, put the hash on the pin with a piece of cardboard, and put it on the edge of the table, and take a glass and
Hash dome.
light the hash, and then put the exactly. There you go.
Mine's a little rough looking right now, but yeah, it's a hash dome.
I just put it on a table, and then the glass would fill up, and you just bring it to the edge of the table, and you just the whole glass would be full of smoke, and you just take your hit. That's how we'd smoke it.
This is kind of cool because it actually has a mouthpiece, so you just tilt the edge up, and you can inhale it right through the top there. I clearly need to clean this thing. Holy shit!
You know what? It was interesting. My brain, I don't even know because there was no internet when I was a kid. Someone taught me how to do that, and I'm glad because then it wasn't trying to smoke through a resiny, dirty pipe. It was clean smoke of the hash, so you really just tasted that terp, that hash back. And I remember it. So there's this Middle Eastern guy up here in Michigan, Mohammed Hashi. He just sponsored the Clio at the Clio Cup, and he makes a cake hash that's just amazing. Nothing for sale, people, but very good.
Never, ever. But
that's funny because like when I was growing up, I never had access to any kind of good hash at all. You know, besides, oh look, I rolled a couple joints and I got a fucking sticky fingers. So I had heard of it. There's this thing that you can make hash. So the first time that I had ever had any kind of hash was when I made it myself in 99. There you go.
It says on the front, it says, "Oh hell yeah, I am high."
I am high.
So these are the first tennis shoes I designed, and then I actually got commissioned to do some shoes, and I got some good cash to do some custom Nikes.
I think that's my big sticking point too, is I'm old enough that we used to get the cake hash. And so when I hear hash, that's what I think of. I think of the little dark brick that we used to get from my buddy. He would get it from his it came overseas, and we'd get it once every 6 months, and it would be a treat for us, and that's what we'd have. That was
just hard enough, but just soft enough.
Yeah, like the outer seal, once you crack it, right? You get that brownie interior that just
almost, it was like you could cut it like like a hard cheese,
but
like
we
a steak.
Horrible. Yeah, we did dumb shit with it, and I mean, until we learned about hash spoons, we were throwing it in bowls and wasting it and trying everything.
We always just topped bowls.
I do a dinosaur because as much as I know there's a lot of people who love flour, but it's just like flour is too much trouble. What it's going to be like the cigar bars in the old days. It's like only a couple people are going to smoke flour because it's either going to be extract or I'm telling you, they're going to come up with a pill that'll work. But I think the whole Banaka Blast is the best idea. Just like
honestly, that's what I was thinking. A sublingual is probably going to be the most, because the two biggest sellers in terms of Michigan market, in terms of dollar value, the two biggest sellers are vape pens and flour. Now, flour is the obvious one. Right. Vape pens are, it's the convenience factor, right? And honestly, a little bit of the, privacy, if you will, the what's the word I'm looking for, nonchalant part of it, you know what I mean? It's a vape pen, right? So but
on the to walk outside and smoke a joint.
Yeah, but that's the one of the top selling items by units moved is a pre-roll, and that's because a lot of them are given away or included or whatever, pennies on the dollar type of situation. But that's also a very common thing to sell. So I have no idea where I'm going with this, but I'm going to go ahead and take this dab that I smell.
You had me.
That was a perfect segue. No, You knew exactly what your brain was going, and you told us, and that's all that counted.
You said Banaka, and I was like, yo, I
Sublinguals.
haven't had Banaka for a long fucking time. So I
Myself.
kind of want some Banaka. So I went over to Amazon right now and I looked up Banaka, and for a fucking a quarter ounce little aerosol breath spray, the peppermint version of Banaka is $45. It's like they must not make them anymore, and they're like a
Collector's items or some
collector's
shit.
item. Here's one over here, an orange one for $26.99. It's another one for $34.99. That's pretty interesting.
Those little like single droppers though, drop 2 drops under the tongue, like I can see that getting popular.
I guess I won't be buying any Banaka.
No, I will say though, it's not, once somebody tastes some good K-Cash, there is this like, wow, everybody goes, wow, there is a distinction to it.
Yeah, we talked about it before, that hash terp that develops that you just can't seem to get except from that old school hash.
I'm not saying there should be more of that. That's just what I've been accustomed
Totally. Yeah, that's what when I hear hash, that's what my brain associates with, is that taste.
And the rest is, I don't want to say concentrate, extraction I don't like, these words, these vernacular words. Like, I have a big, Nation, if you're listening, I have a real big problem with the term recreational. Because
I could see
so
that.
much more than that, and then they just do medical, and so medical's forgotten now. And that, in fact, it was because of the whole medical side of things that I even got involved with this whole thing that I was doing. That was kind of my like, yeah, this isn't just getting high. There's so much other value to this medicine. So, but now that's kind of it's lost to the layman because they just want to get it on the shelves selling 6-packs, and damn the pre-rolls. I'm sorry, I will not smoke a pre-roll,
dude. I can't. I don't like them. That's just as much as I can say.
So 99% of pre-rolls are garbage, man.
Right.
100%. Well, 99%. You're right. Yeah.
Early on in the show,
100%, 99% of them are shit.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
99% of the time it works, most of the time. Or what is it? Right?
Yeah. I'm not going to go into any kind of details, but yeah, I'm not a fan of pre-rolls.
I got that weird free pack. Remember? And it was like the little half joints. And I'm like, what the hell is this? It's like 90% filter and this little tiny fucking, that's not a joint to me.
That's some sugar trim. But
at best.
And it's funny because I haven't bought anything from a dispensary and I can't remember. I think I did once just out of apathy. But
I'm dispensary dumb.
I'm dispensary dumb too. But what I do is when I go in, because I like one just opened near my house, so I wanted to walk around and look like a cool guy. And no, I usually say, you know what, guys, this is all great, but you know what? I want to see the weed that's in the back, the weed that you're not putting out here to sell, the one that you're smoking. That's the one I want to see.
Right.
Yeah, I don't. Number one, for whatever reason, I generally don't get offered a lot of different product. When we go to
samples. Yeah,
when I go to a barbecue, I'm bringing the hash. I'm the guy with the hash. It's not nobody else is the guy with the hash. So I'm always just smoking my own.
Do you consider yourself a connoisseur, Pedro?
I mean, I'd like to think I am. Over the years,
do you consider yourself a connoisseur?
Yes.
I am, but I'm not.
TDog, do you consider connoisseurs equal to snobs?
I think I'm a bit of a snob now. I've become one. I can't help it.
I don't know if that's a bad thing. I think it feels like it should be this bad thing, but I think it's okay to know what's good and to prefer it.
I will say this, because a lot of people I know some, again, protect the innocent and the good growers out there. I've known people that have gone through some hard times and haven't been able to have the environment to grow the way they normally grow, but they still did the best they could. And I smoked the weed, and it was dry, it was harsh, but getting back to my good vibe tribe kind of mentality. I said, well, what's the positive? It still was good medicine. It still was a good genetic, and it still did the job of adjusting my being to feel better. So I don't know.
Whenever I go somewhere and I'm offered another grower's weed, I always respectfully decline. I'm always afraid of other growers. If I haven't seen your grow, I don't want to smoke anything that's come out of it.
That's a big part of it, man.
I know people that will not smoke outdoor weed because they say, well, it's being exposed to everything out there, and it's like,
yeah, good stuff too, though. Like
that's actually what I'm smoking here is my last year's till 23 outdoor critical kush.
By the way, I might enter for the first time in my life a contest. I might do that.
You should.
At competition, because here's what's very cool. So I lost the story. So I grew when I was like a kid. I just would throw beans in the ground, not knowing. There was no internet when I was a kid. We just threw beans in the ground and grew, and that was it. And then for many, many years when I was out in LA, I had friends who grew, so I never had to do that, that activity. And then fast forward to the pandemic, and I wasn't going to start baking sourdough bread. I started growing. So
hold on. Which comedian did that?
Yeah.
No, but I've been growing since 2019. Yeah, right. And I'm loving it because I'm getting better at it. Well, getting better at it. I'm just doing it. So when you do it and you take the TLC, and if you do anything if you're going to do something, do it with, knowledge and good genetics and knowing it's not rocket science, but you got to apply yourself.
Here's the thing. It's weed. Anybody can grow it, but it takes a little bit of effort to grow it well.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, I was going to type here in chat, but I'll respectfully decline something that I've inspected, if you will, quote unquote, that just looks very subpar. Like I'm just not interested in. It's got to have a terpene content, a smoothness as well. Otherwise, I am definitely going to respectfully decline. However, when I see what appears to be good medicine, I am beyond eager to smoke someone else's medicine, like beyond eager.
Especially when it's something, probably because it's something you're not used to. But when that nose hits you, like the nose, you know what I mean? And you're just sometimes, I'll have friends put 8 jars in front of me, right? And they're like, all right, these are all my, different phenols from the last harvest and my, fucking 2-liter or whatever. I would love, check them out, right? So I pop open a jar. Usually the first one's like the one that they like, and usually it's pretty fucking fire, right? And I'm like, oh shit, okay. I pop open another one, like that one's pretty good too. And then eventually, like not all of them are gonna smell fantastic, right? Some of them maybe just aren't for you. Some of them maybe just didn't hit or whatever. But sometimes you're just like so surprised. You're like, yeah, no, let's roll that up. I want to smoke it right now because this is a brand new profile to me. And I think TDog's hitting the nail on the head several times tonight about the flavor being. So give me your top 3. What are the top 3 most important parts of the smoking experience for you, TDog? Is flavor number 1?
And what are you smoking? Because I think that's important.
Oh, so here's my favorite new.
He likes sativa.
Or how are you smoking, I should say.
Favorite new nighttime medicine. No, I don't. We'll have a little conversation about indica and sativa.
Might have a little conversation about that tomorrow too.
it was. I listened to DJ Short talk about it years ago, and I've always kind of abided by his thought process about it. But I'm smoking in the evening, and I just love it as the permanent marker. It's just, I found that medicine about a year ago. My buddy from Forefathers Genetics turned me on to it. He goes, T, do not smoke this during the day. And that was the best advice he could give me, because you can't get nothing done when you smoke that stuff. But it's perfect for the evening, just to totally, it's like just a blanket of calm, and you can just relax. And it's good pain relief as well.
Yeah, that's what this critical is doing to me right now. Like, I don't think I should smoke this during the day.
Right. And to know that. And so, and it was funny, because for a while that was the only good medicine I had. I said, bro, I need some daytime medicine.
So, well, okay. So we've talked a lot about smoking for the last.
I love Jack Hare. I love green crack, a good green crack, a good Jack Hare.
That's what I haven't heard from a minute.
I'm actually growing a strain that's called TDog right now. It was created for me by two.
I'm like,
This is not shit. Hobo Farms. They worked on it for about a year and a half. They interviewed me way back when. They were buying my shirts. They got an idea of what terps I like. So this strain is a cross between two sour diesels, East Coast sour diesel. I got it right here. And Michael Fang's Forest strain crossed with a pamplemousse. So it was a very hazy strain, and boy, did it grow like a monster. It's got a very interesting terp profile. I don't know. Well, it's my first name strain, so that's pretty cool. Hey, smoke some of that TDog.
right. And I mean, I don't know if you covered this yet or not. Are you mainly a flower, or do you dab, or obviously?
I am mainly flower. That is my daily consumption, but going to as many events that I go to over the years, I feel like I'm a dabber as well. I have all the gear, I have the extract, and I would say at least twice a week I have to have a little dab, just because it's
back and forth.
Yeah, go back and forth, but mostly flower.
Yeah, I can't handle the flower much anymore. I've said this many times before. I just can't handle the smoking of it for the most part.
I'm to that point too, because my wife says, I'll come in from outside and I still smell like smoke, so it's a little of an issue with her. I
say that, and then I'll smoke my cigar, but then
my lungs couldn't handle flower anymore.
When I was going to say, though,
cigarettes are less harsh than a joint.
I mean, they're kind of designed to be, right. It's until you start using shit like that.
Yeah, right.
But when I do smoke, I think I said this before, when I do smoke good flower, fuck, dude, sit the fuck down.
Well, good organic, I'm telling you, it's smooth, man. I just smoked some of Leo Aficionado, and that stuff goes down so smooth.
All right, but I want to hear about the first time you smoked. You said you've been smoking for 5 decades, and we just talked about all the different things you're smoking lately. But what about the first time you ever smoked weed, dude? Do you remember?
I remember, yeah, vaguely. No, I was around 14, 15 years old, probably 14. And little pin joint. It was Jamaican. I remember we had I was fascinated how he was breaking up the bud and on an album cover and cleaning the seeds.
We've heard that story a couple of times here.
Rolling the seeds, man.
Yeah, I was like, wow, those seeds. This is so good.
Yeah. Yeah, always look at the seeds like, man, this is good bud. Look at how tiger strip the seeds are.
Well, you know what? My brother, I got him growing for the first time, and he showed me his plant. I go, oh, it looks like it hermed out or something. He said, because I was looking at it, but it looks like a total mess. I said, don't worry about it, man. So you'll just have to clean the seeds out. No big deal. It's cool that you're growing.
So what'd you do? You had a little pinner joint.
Yeah, a little pinner joint. And
Would you go behind the library? What's the story?
you gotta understand, when I was a kid, the law enforcement didn't know really what to do with weed. They really didn't. It wasn't this, it was the new kid on the block because alcohol. So when there'd be times, we'd go out to a park, where you'd see it on like those movies, Dazed and Confused, where everybody'd meet at the park and drink beer and smoke weed. That's what we would do. Go to some, yeah. And when they'd bust us, they would just make us pour out the beer, and they'd take our weed and tell us to go home. They didn't bust us. I mean, they didn't arrest us because we were under 18. That's another reason. They probably did.
Hassle.
So did you smoke? Did you smoke it alone your first time? Or did you smoke it with a group of people or
Friends, yeah.
Yeah, group of people.
Yeah.
Did you get high?
Yeah, I must have.
I must have.
I
started something off.
And
No,
who support?
Well, you know what? Here's interesting. Would I become the artist I became if I didn't smoke weed? I always wondered that, because weed has been not something where I smoke and I want to sit on the couch, twiddle my thumbs, and watch Netflix. Weed has always been a medicine that inspires me to be creative. That's the honest to God truth. I smoke weed to, like, okay, I'm going to work on a project. I'm taking a bong hit, and I'm enthusiastic. I'm creative. I'm going at it. And I go around the country. I spoke at the Boston Freedom Rally. I've spoken. I like to say that, the term stoner, it's what, unfortunately, that's the term that's labeled on us. But we can be functional as well.
I would agree.
100%.
Yes, we forget where we left our keys, but that doesn't affect our fucking intelligence and our process.
I was just gonna say, when Girlie was asking about, the first time, do you remember? I'm like, I remember very clearly, and I hope I always do, but for some reason I don't remember very much about any of the times after.
That's a good point. I never thought about it like that.
It's kind of true with me too. Well, yeah, the real problem I had was in 11th grade, and they started putting PCP in the joints, and they called it angel dust. Kids, do not smoke angel dust.
Does that stuff even exist anymore?
Probably.
Detroit in the 70s and 80s was a whole different world, man.
Yeah, I was back in the Midwest, so it was definitely around back in the day.
Talk about the fentanyl today. They were doing stupid shit way back.
Oh yeah, we've always been doing stupid shit, man. We gotta figure out. We gotta do the stupid shit. Figure out what the good shit is. Shout out to all those that have given themselves to get us to where we are today with the substances that we now use.
When you decided to become a hash maker, did you know how much work it was going to be?
Kind of.
Okay.
A little bit. Not
no.
Not to the level it is now. No. But no. I yeah.
I was trading work is what I knew. I was eliminating trimming, replacing it with bucking and bagging, and then putting that time instead into washing and turning on the freeze dryer.
Oh, wait. Someone asked, how old is this dude? I haven't been looking at the chat. This is good.
All right. When I first started washing
for the Boston Freedom Rally, that's tomorrow. I was there last year.
Shit.
it's one of the last of the true Prohibition festivals between the Hash Bash, the Boston Freedom Rally, and there's really, the Seattle Hemp Fest has kind of gone by the wayside. That one isn't happening anymore, really. And then I was in Washington, D.C. for 420. They had a 420 event. That was pretty cool. Okay, so how old I am? I'm older than the hills, motherfucker. Let's put it this way. If I've been smoking for 50 years, you can figure it out.
And he said he was 14 or 15.
There, right?
A ding, 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 math, algebra. Anybody? Calculator? Someone?
Do we need to bring the calculator up again?
No, what
we got to double check your work.
To answer your question though, TDog, when I started,
that person who asked how old I am, this is what you can smoke for that long and still be. Look, I still got most of my hair.
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good with the hair. As much as I wear a freaking hat, I'm doing pretty good with the hair.
We wear hats all the time. Keep the sun out of our eyes.
Yeah, yeah. I knew what the hash was going to be, from just an outside kind of perspective. I like I said, I washed back in '99, but I remember specifically washing in the kitchen. Using ice. Well, I was washing through. We had him on, Marcus Bubble Man. I was washing through his bags. And we got 3 spoonfuls that we kind of air dried and on the side or on some. We had no idea what the fuck we were doing. We had no idea what the fuck we were doing. So by the time we got to smoking it, it was probably.
And you had an inflated idea. Well, I'm pretty resourceful. We can do this.
Yeah, at the time I did.
More so than the.
How did it come out?
But then when I came out to Colorado and started, I was with Dizzy at the time, and she was taking a lot of pharmaceuticals, and we needed to get her off the pharmaceuticals. And by that time she was smoking a lot of cannabis as well. Right. So I knew I needed to start processing, and I quickly, you can actually, I think most of it's probably still it logged in forever history on YouTube. My progression from washing in the bathroom in the bathtub to dry sifting over a screen door that I took down, a glass screen door, because it was a big flat surface that I could use a credit card to collect the trichomes, to realizing that I needed a cold room, and then to realizing I needed cold water, and to realizing I needed cold material, and to realizing it very quickly progressed, and as I learned, I shared it on YouTube as much as I could, and or Instagram, and then once I started really getting into it about that point in time and teaching myself, I started doing a lot more research and finding out that there was other people that were doing this as well. And of course, Frenchie, and I started, you start kind of learning from each other, teaching each other, and everybody becomes better.
Did you see the movie they did for Frenchie?
I don't think I did.
You should see if maybe I can send you a link, or if there's a way to see it online now.
Yeah, it's on Vimeo.
It is on YouTube?
Yeah, they have it behind a paywall, though.
Okay. You got to pay to see it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't think I saw it.
I think more than the time, it was the monetary investment that I didn't expect.
I would completely agree with you there.
Yeah. It's you don't have to go as crazy as we did, but like once you go, it's like, well, if I'm gonna go, why am I gonna half-ass it? So you just go all in, and then and then you're $15,000-$20,000 deep.
Next week, I'm still working on building the room and getting everything exactly squared away. But next week, the Osprey Junior and the stainless recirculation system should be landing here. So I'm excited to Eliminate the microplastics and
we gotta figure out a way because I can get Jason, but Pedro, I'm gonna need to taste some of, if Pedro's gonna be for president, I'm gonna need to taste some of the sweetness of the.
of course we can.
We have to figure that one out.
Hey, it took me like
I can
7-8
drive.
years, so you gotta respect the time and then appreciate the flavors. Okay,
we can make that happen for sure, man.
definitely.
And John, by the way, Johnny, you get the first place award for background.
I'll get you some jars of mine too. I've got some jars of mine getting ready.
That, but I'm not going to say no.
Always, yeah. No. Love to share the terps.
Absolutely, I try to. It's hard to
hard on them. It's like,
you know what? You'll get some. I actually am a friend of mine just said that he said, I wasn't going to smoke your stuff last year, but smelling, because I just chopped and it's in the jars, he says he might try it this year. So maybe I did better this year. So
let's all just meet at the state line and we'll do a friendly little swap at the state line.
All right, I'm bringing a boomerang. Who wants the slingshot?
Which state line? Figure it out.
All of them.
All of them. Yes.
Like the Simpsons, right? We're in Springfield.
Yeah. Says the guy that actually lives on a state line.
Well, that's the one reason I was doing a lot of the Big Cloud events. I was supporting them because it was Southwest Michigan, and it was literally like 11 miles from the Indiana border, and it was great because people from Indiana had access to medicine.
I looked at one of those events to go because I think you were going, right, for Growley, to one of the. It was either Big Cloud or it was one of the other ones over there on the West Michigan side.
I've done quite a few, but yeah, Big Cloud was.
But I looked at the map. I'm like, shit, it's like an 8-hour drive from my place. Like, yeah. Detroit's not bad, but you go
3 hour drive for me, so.
Man, I didn't realize it.
Yeah, you're taking Michigan like 127 to 94, and then shooting 94 over for like 2 plus hours.
Yeah. It's...
Okay, there goes the first yawn. West. So yeah, I got to get out to the West Coast again. I miss it. I was going to Seattle Hemp Fest. I was going when High Times was doing their cannabis cups out there, and none of that's the event world has really changed. Not that there aren't events going on. They're smaller events, but I like what Brian's doing with his seminars. So it's not just like an event, a vendor party. It's something where you can really learn something.
Mm-hmm.
I also like how he's got the open sesh as well as part of it. It's not just a ticket holder only thing. You have other locals that are able to come and partake and not be there for the education, but still get the education in hash. They're not learning how to make it, but they're getting that education of hash.
Yeah.
Good hash
experience.
I was very fortunate. I sat in on the seminar for about an hour. I just came in and he had a little break and we got to meet. It was good. And now we're working together. Meant to be. Good vibe.
Oh, yeah.
That's the thing I'm trying to promote.
He's an awesome guy too. He's just trying to do good stuff.
Yeah, our community needs to quit, I'm too old for this junior high crap, guy.
The amount of drama.
I don't have to get into it. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Don't air your dirty laundry on social media. Talk man, woman to man, whatever. Do it professionally. Do it with some grace. And let's be a stronger community together. Okay, I get off my soapbox.
Yeah, I think it needs to be said, though. Especially, I think social media is one of those things that can certainly unite people across geographical boundaries that they probably wouldn't have otherwise united. But it also can create these lines and the imaginary rifts that never existed before.
Where people that's behind it, So be a good, bad trad. That's all I'm asking.
I like it. Pedro, are you okay over there? Was that just a massive dab?
Are you?
Yeah,
I know it was that Kush that he smoked, man.
it's that this. I found this jar of Critical Kush in the refrigerator earlier, and yeah, the last 3 have been that, and
How many fingers am I holding, dude?
we call it Whitacred, where and it is such a pronounced thing. I mean, you could probably somebody could go back and make a video of it, where my right eye just becomes not well, I mean, not quite not functional, but noticeably.
Did you fall?
A little droop.
What's that?
I saw the picture on your Instagram. Did you fall and cut your head?
Oh yeah, I cut the shit out of my face.
Saw that, man.
I don't know what the fuck I fell on or what the hell I did, but but yeah, I cut the shit out of my face, banged the shit on my head.
In the house. That's cool. Vermont strong. Dr. Leave me alone.
You got to say it enough times to get some of these.
Doctor, leave me alone. Okay.
But no, well, you asked if I was okay. I actually just typed in chat there that I don't know that I needed that last one.
All right. Well, if you need to, do whatever you got to do, man.
Oh no, dude!
He sticks it out. He's not going to go to
we
bed.
Ride the horse. Actually, it was just kind of funny. I was talking to an acquaintance earlier today. Hetty Boy, my apprentice, as we've called him. I hedge to call him that anymore because
he's previous guest on the show.
Yeah, exactly. He questions because I like copious amounts of THC. Like I will. I don't know if I have a cap quite yet. But when it comes to psychedelics, mushrooms or LSD, I get very anxious on the transition. And he's always wondered how I like the super intense, almost psychedelic experience of being too high on cannabis, but I don't like the transition.
I was gonna say that's the difference is with cannabis, unless you're taking edibles or something. But if you're doing dabs or smoking, it's almost nearly instantaneous. Whereas most of these other psychedelics have a little bit of a buildup and a lot of bit of a come down, and you're experiencing those, and they can be rough,
Yeah, I just don't. And people have said the microdose thing before, and I just.
What's a microdose? There's a question. People say, "What's hash? What's a microdose?"
Yeah, it's different for everybody. I think.
Yeah, you're supposed to take not enough to feel.
0.2,
I guess.
0.3.
I have no. We need
0.14 sometimes.
We had Tanazi on the show, right? We need him back.
Here's one thing I got to say about mushrooms is that there are times where I'll go, well, this was a bad day to take mushrooms.
Is that at the beginning or the end? It's usually at the beginning, right?
No, something happens while you're, at the whatever peak point of the dosage you've taken, and something happens. It's like, oh, fuck.
Throws off the vibe.
Well, right, because unless it's the kind of the perfect situation, I'm not like you're out in the woods, that's okay, but then like when you're out in the real world, you don't know what's going to come up, So I want to stay sharp, so I stay away from the intense.
That's why I moved my real world to the woods.
Experience. Still saying been there, done that, but the medicine, the cannabis is certainly part of my regimen. I don't necessarily condone it because it's everything. Everybody needs what they need. My biggest, I think, the thing that I have problem with is the double standard in this world. It's like you can't be knocking my weed when you got cigarettes and alcohol on the shelf, man.
Right.
Yeah, there's so much worse things.
It's not even so much worse. It's.
I know it's a horrible way of labeling that, but like
you can compare the two.
Right. It's apples and oranges.
Example.
And I wanted to say this a couple times before because we talked about this a few times. It made me think about this. Even recreational use is medicinal use.
Yes. Well, that's why I don't like the term recreational. It's just, are you taking it to go play in the park, or are you taking it because it's the medicine that puts you into the mode you need to be to function?
Both.
Both, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I won't ever say I don't enjoy the high, but I definitely like the medicinal side of it. Like my hip kills
Right.
nonstop if I don't have the anti-inflammatory. Like I can tell when I smoke something that doesn't have those properties.
I got some great topical you can use, not only because I have 1% of the company, but it is an amazing product. It's Jeff Rose Botanicals, and it's not just because it has cannabis in it. He also has this element called Copper One. He's an ex-Marine. He's been working on it for over 10 years, and he's almost being considered by the FDA. It's a real legit product, and I use it, but it's a great topical.
And that's what I need. I need something that can keep the swelling down, basically.
I'll send you a sample jar.
That'd be awesome. Yeah, I'd definitely try it out. Always down for good medicine, especially when it comes from the plant. I mean, we talked earlier before about parents and their resistance to cannabis. My mom was completely against cannabis my whole life. She worked with Dr. Sanjay Gupta, who was the doctor on CNN, and he was very anti-cannabis early on. And then, I don't know, 10 years ago or so, he revisited and saw the actual medicinal effects. It was someone with, I don't remember what it was, MS or Parkinson's, something, the shakes, and smoked a joint, went away. Had a guy with like uncontrollable abdomen spasms, constant hiccups, basically.
I have a friend who grew some Guptilla. It's his name. Seriously.
But he switched, then she finally was open to it. And so when she was later in life and had the arthritis problem, I forget what Raynaud's is what it was called. I believe it was at the first cannabis cup when I got the CBD topical from you for Girly. It was like the second to last jar, and bought one little tiny one, and yeah, there you go. That was the first, the body butter. It was the first time she'd ever used anything cannabis related.
I want to try that.
I got a jar with your name on it. And it's not CBD, it's actually THC. It's about a 100 to 1 ratio. So it's 300 milligrams of THC and about 3 milligrams of CBD. And I find that THC helps significantly more than CBD. So it doesn't matter if I topically apply it, I ingest it orally, or I inhale it. I find that THC is a way more effective medicine than CBD is. And not to knock CBD, I know it works for a lot of people. It just doesn't work for me.
And just listen to what he's saying. It's not just because maybe a preference. The truth is I've read and researched is that the science, the only reason we have CBD only, honest to God, is because of the laws. It was just a way to circumvent the laws.
Yeah, it's like the Farm Bill now, right? THCA, quote unquote.
We said that the medicine works best if there's an element of both in the THC and the CBD.
Yeah, and the terpenes too, right? I mean, it all has to be there. I quite frankly, I'm a huge fan of CBG. If I had to pick a dominant cannabinoid that I thought was the most medicinally valuable for me outside of the terpenes, it's CBG.
There you go. And that's all. And it's all pretty much science, but
That's really cool, Jay.
What do we got here? Jay Patrick's Beer Butts. My dad has Parkinson's. Good shakes bad after pipe. It's mostly shakes go away for at least a couple of hours.
It's amazing what that relief can do. My father had MS, and so had horrible shakes towards later in his life. And
I get a friend of mine who has Parkinson's to start, but he just no, I don't want to.
Thinking back now, I'm like, gosh, I wish we had access to THC back then. We were doing all kinds of experimental therapies with him. I mean, they were doing bee stings and just just crazy
Wow.
stuff, but they wouldn't try cannabis.
Well, the nice thing is like we're showing and highlighting here, there's so many more ways than just inhaling it, than just combusting it, than just smoking it, than or dabbing it. There's so many more ways to use and or ingest this product, this drug, if you will, medicine. And it's so it can open it up to people that are more closed-minded. You know, if they can take a pill, or if they can eat a brownie, or if they can drink a drink, you know, or the many other ways of ingestion.
Gummies a newbie's best friend.
Right, right. The only problem with gummies is that they taste so damn good.
Well,
So
they get some
what she does, she has me buy a bag of Sour Patch so she can eat
Ooh, there you go. Good call.
more.
You okay, hold on. Are we talking about buying a bag of Sour Patch and then taking a thing of edibles and then dumping them in there, shaking it up and just eating them and figuring out what like, oh, maybe tonight's the night, you know? Like,
Roulette.
Russ, I do like that idea. What I was thinking is more of a safe way is to take a bag or a half a bag and then put like the 1 or 2 or 3 that you're going to eat in there. But no, I like the idea of doing a 50-50 or a 75-25
I
and
wasn't
just
talking
fucking
50,
going
50.
for it.
Maybe what's a Russian roulette ratio? Like 1 out of 6 or 8 or something like that.
I thought Russian roulette was 50-50, isn't it? Oh.
I don't know what kind of Russian you playing in. Is this USSR or is this modern day? Like,
I suppose, yeah, right. 1 out of 6.
1 out of 6. Spin it.
One thing though I do like about the mushrooms, and I just did the logo. It's on my page, Boomer Bar, and it's funny how the social media is regulating mushrooms more than cannabis in some ways.
No, big time.
Getting shadow banned or whatever. But
Instagram especially.
I
Instagram
like
just cracking down on all of them.
Belgian chocolate mushrooms. That does taste good.
Yeah, real chocolate is
I used to chew the mushroom and just let it soak under my tongue and let it sublingually, and then so it's a little tastier now than it used
to be. I've never been able to stomach them. So back when I grew them, we dried them in a food dehydrator that I took the heating element out of, and then ground them and put them in double lock capsules.
Right.
And it was just, they still tasted freaking horrible, but at least they didn't make me puke my guts out or gag on them.
So listen, guys, what do we do? We solve any big issues? I'm going to be continuing to pay tribute to the medicine. Absolutely. I want to do more event art and maybe not even cannabis events. And that's the other thing is I want talking to all the promoters that might be listening. I think there's a better way to do events where it's not about a vendor party. It's about, yes, the vendors are included or invited, but it's about the entertainment. It's about the art, the whole experience.
Have it about the community.
Yeah. And then
you got to bring people there, not just
and have a little more anymore. Like we were talking, they're so small. It's got to they're a little more niche. They need to be a little more all inclusive and a little more entertaining.
And then you charge less to the vendor, and then if it's a more of an attraction, if you have the right attraction, then you should be able to balance that with ticket sales.
Right. Vendors don't necessarily need to be the attraction.
Right. And to pump up their ego because their logo was put into because they're going to be at the event.
Yep. Well, I'm a gold sponsor.
Right though. I mean, that's important. Like I look at those and I go, okay, these people are going to be there. I want to know that to a certain degree. But I don't know. It's just I like the idea what we were talking about at the beginning about, write your congressman, seriously about like how you'd like to see it. More farmers markets to, where the community has more access to it, where it's easier for the community to come out. And you don't have to just sell weed. You can sell vegetables too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Which next week our guests will be talking about that exactly. Actually, TDog, where can we find you? Give us the plugs: Instagram, YouTube.
I definitely Instagram, and it's TDog the artist, all one word. It's written there, right there. There's some frauds. I got a bunch of frauds taking my posts and adding a T to the end of the T. So make sure it's that spelled out. TDog the artist. I do have links on the site where you can go to other places. I'm working on a permanent site for merch and stuff like that. I'm working with Forefathers Genetics, Forefathers Glass. The guy's he is just a lover of the top glass in the world, and he represents and helps the glass blowers out by it's not like he's making really any money at all. It's like more of a mission of love, where because he loves the glass so much, but he goes to events. We share booths at events. He's going to be with me in New York, and some of the top glass. Look him up, Forefathers Genetics, and we're going to put a Shopify site together. But come 25. The access to all my shirts, merchandise, we're working on a drop ship situation where that makes it a lot easier to order and get your stuff. But definitely follow the Instagram. That's the main.
Awesome, man. Well,
Cool.
I mean, it's been a blast. We really appreciate you sharing your perspective and your experience here tonight. And hopefully we can have you back again sometime soon, man. I look forward to seeing you at another event, I'm sure very soon.
Yeah, it was good to see you at the Cloud Cup. Pedro, love seeing you, bro. Love to the family, everybody. Johnny, I got next time up in the UP, I'm coming to your place. Bro.
Hell yeah, dude. Let's do it. I'm there too. Let's go.
Bring it
Be
on.
good, brother. Good seeing you again, man.
All right, man.
Cheers, guys. You can find us after the show, of course, on Spotify. And like we said, we'll be here next week, every Friday at 11 p.m. Until then.
Hey,